They needed to put her on the machine because she wasn't doing enough breathing on her own.
Nature's deadliest organisms.
It looked like he was dying before my eyes.
They can hijack our bodies.
It was the most excruciating pain.
Disable our immune systems.
The disease is almost always fatal.
And eat us from within.
Something was eating away at my child, and I had no power to stop it.
For those infected, they are the monsters inside me. Chelsea Ann McKinney is a stay-at-home mom in Fayetteville, North Carolina. She has 2 children, 8-year-old Kiona and 14-year-old Matthew.
He was doing very well in school. He was AB honor roll in middle school. And outside of school, he was a member of the Boy Scouts. He was a good kid. I was very proud of Matthew.
Matthew is particularly close to his grandfather, Alfred.
He was very cheerful, happy, and very intelligent. He liked sports, and he liked swimming.
I was a lifeguard when I was young, and I taught my children how to swim. I call them my little fish.
Having completed the 8th grade, Matthew has a whole summer in the water ahead of him. Little does he know of the danger that lies in wait.
It was a very hot day, and the children loved to be out of school. We went to the lake with my neighbors' children. Matthew, with a few other teenage boys, were diving down, playing in the mud and playing in the water. They were having a lot of fun. They were having a blast.
After the day at the lake, Matthew heads to bed early. But that night, something startles Chelsea Ann.
At about 2 o'clock in the morning, Matthew woke me up from his room. He was calling out to me that he didn't feel well and he felt hot. He was really complaining that his nose was hurting at that point. I looked inside Matthew's nose and I didn't see anything unusual. He did feel hot, and so I got the thermometer. His temperature was 103.6, and I was very worried. Usually they don't get fevers that high.
Chelsea Ann bundles Matthew and his sister into the car, and they hurry to the local hospital.
They checked his blood pressure, and they checked his temperature, and they looked inside his nose with the light. They told us they didn't see anything in there, just some swelling, like sinus tissue swelling. The doctors seemed to think that the problem with Matthew was that he had sinusitis.
Sinusitis is an infection that fills the nasal cavities with mucus. The symptoms include pressure-like pain and fever.
The doctors didn't seem concerned at all, like this was just a standard case of a sick child. Give him antibiotics and send him home.
For the next 3 days, Matthew's summer break is put on hold. Chelsea Ann stays home and waits for him to recover.
Matthew was very tired and sick, and he just couldn't do anything. He laid on the couch, and he had his fever, and he was irritated that he wasn't feeling well. I was trying to make him as comfortable as possible. Anything I could do as a mother.
But as she cares for her son, Chelsea Ann notices a new cause for concern.
His nose and his left eye looked swollen, puffy, not normal at all. I wasn't sure what was happening, what was making his face swell.
The swelling continues, and 2 days later, Matthew tells Chelsea Ann of an alarming new sensation.
He was rubbing his tongue across his teeth, and he says, "Mom, Mom, my teeth are moving." I looked at him, what? I didn't believe him at first. I thought maybe he was delirious from the fever. He says, "But I can feel it." He kept rubbing his tongue across his teeth. He says, "My teeth are moving, my teeth are moving." I was really scared.
Chelsea Ann immediately rushes Matthew back to the ER.
The ENT doctor still seemed to think it was sinusitis, and they tried to drain his sinuses.
The doctor takes Matthew to an exam room, where he feeds a thin probe up his nose to the sinus cavities.
When they tried to drain it, it was completely dry. There was nothing in his sinuses at all.
Doctors admit Matthew to the hospital for further testing. As Chelsea Ann waits with him in the ward, she can now see serious swelling in his gums.
I could see by then his teeth were starting to shift. His tooth was out of line and pointing almost sideways. To see a tooth move like that was very strange and concerning.
Doctors focus their tests on Matthew's mouth.
They took him up to the dental area of the hospital and took x-rays of his teeth. And afterwards, when the dentist was looking at Matthew, he wiggled the tooth and it just fell out into the dentist's hand. And there was pus everywhere. And he was completely confused because he saw nothing wrong with the tooth itself.
He just looked awful. Face looked like he'd been beat up, swollen, and it was very devastating.
Those doctors were so confused. They didn't know what they were dealing with at all. All I could do was sit there and watch him cry.
Desperate to discover what's destroying Matthew's face, doctors take a biopsy from the roof of his mouth.
They took a sample of the gum tissue. He was just screaming in so much pain. I had to leave the room because I couldn't sit there. I couldn't sit there helpless and not be able to do anything for him.
The doctors send the tissue away for testing. But as Chelsea Ann waits for a new diagnosis, her helplessness turns to terror.
I saw little black spots around his left nostril in the swelling tissue. At first, I wasn't sure what I was looking at, but after about an hour or so, it got more dense, more spots, and it was growing. I knew it was dying flesh, and I was scared to death.
It was just awful. Now, I've seen death in Vietnam, but this was my grandson we're talking about, and it looked like he was dying before my eyes.
Something was eating away at my child, and I had no power to stop it.
The dying flesh forces the doctors to take a drastic step. At midnight, a medevac helicopter flies him to a specialist unit 50 miles away at Chapel Hill. Dr. William Shockley is part of the medical team that assesses the boy's condition.
Matthew was extremely ill. He had a high fever. His pulse rate was very rapid. His way of thinking was affected. It was a manifestation of what we would consider septic shock. And so he could die of the infection. This is the type of infection that not only requires big gun antibiotics, but also surgery.
The surgeon told us that this was a life or death situation. If we don't do surgery on him right now, he could die on us any minute. And at that point, I lost it. I couldn't take it anymore.
In North Carolina, Chelsea Ann McKinney watches helplessly as the skin on her son's face bloats and turns black.
Something was eating away at my child, and I had no power to stop it.
To slow the spread of the infection, the surgical team slices the dead tissue from Matthew's nose, gums, and palate.
We keep cutting out the dead tissue until we get to tissue that begins to bleed. Once we see bleeding, we know that tissue is probably not seriously infected.
The surgeons strip away a mass of decayed flesh from the teenager's face.
They had gauze across the left side of his face, his nose, so it was hard to see what they had cut off on his nose. And he had 5 teeth missing. Not 1, not 2, 5 teeth were gone.
When Matthew came out of the surgery, he was not out of the woods. We would have to find the specific bacteria that was the source for this. We all felt that it was very likely to be flesh-eating bacteria.
To have a chance of killing the bacteria that is eating Matthew alive, the doctors need to know exactly which species it is. Infectious disease expert Dr. Tom Bellhorn takes on the case.
The infection was spreading so quickly beyond just a skin infection. He had evidence that it was already down in his lungs, and there was concern that it might have also entered the brain.
Finally, test results from Matthew's local hospital come through.
We received a call saying that they had identified a certain type of bacteria that was in his tissues. It was something called Chromobacterium violatium.
Chromobacterium violatium is a microbe that scavenges for food in tropical and subtropical environments. When the bacteria infected Matthew's nose, it targeted the soft flesh below the skin. Here, they breed, spread, and release chemicals that poison the boy's cells. Matthew's flesh swells with pus, forcing the teeth from his gums. The skin on his nose turns black as it dies.
Chromobacterium infections are very rare, but when they occur, they're often deadly. Since the bacteria was first discovered in 1927, there have been fewer than 150 cases worldwide, but more than half of those have been fatal.
As soon as we knew it was Chromobacterium, we knew this was going to be a tough battle. This is extremely rare.
When I found out that this was a flesh-eating bacteria, I was confused. I had never heard of such a thing before.
Why this rare killer has infected Matthew is a mystery.
The doctors were asking us what was different about his schedule. What was he doing that was different? Where was he?
Chromobacterium has been found in lakes across the southeastern states. Hearing this, Chelsea Ann recalls the trip to the lake the day before the illness began.
This was the first time we'd ever been to a lake, and they were playing in the mud, not just the water, but in the mud.
He probably came in contact with Chromobacterium doing these things with the lake bottom. It probably gained entry into his nose just by a scrape, and that's what started off this process.
That scrape was the open door the aquatic bacteria needed. But it's not the only reason why Matthew became infected.
This bacteria does not usually cause infection in humans, and so there was great concerns that he did not have a normal immune system.
Dr. Bellhorn orders blood tests. The results confirm that Matthew has a weakened immune system.
We found out that Matthew had a diagnosis of chronic granulomatous disease. Someone with this type of immune deficiency, they're just unable to kill this bacteria.
That's why it attacked him, and it didn't attack my daughter, and it didn't attack any of his friends or anybody else at the lake.
To save Matthew's life, Dr. Bellhorn gives him a precisely targeted cocktail of intravenous antibiotics. Slowly, the drugs turn the tide on the flesh-eating bacteria. Matthew's vitals improve. After 4 days at Chapel Hill, doctors tell Chelsea Ann that her son is going to survive.
It was a huge sigh of relief, just a big cleansing breath of ease, and prayers had been answered.
A week later, Matthew is released from the hospital. The antibiotics have destroyed the chromobacteria, but the microbes have left a permanent mark.
I remember dreaming about them saying they're gonna cut my nose off, and then woke up and they told me that they actually were trying to, so I knew it wasn't a dream.
2 years later, after the near-fatal infection, Matthew is a long way down the road to recovery.
Matthew's had 5 reconstructive surgeries. 4 of them have been on his nose, where they took the skin of his forehead and left it attached, twisted it around, reattached it to create a nostril.
Everything sunk in when I got home. I'm too young to die. I have a lot of things I want to do.
People with compromised immune systems are especially vulnerable to these bacteria and should take special precautions. Avoid unchlorinated fresh water and damp soils, especially in tropical and subtropical climates.
I am one of the most fortunate, blessed mothers on the planet because my child is still here. And he should have died.
I started to think she was crazy. I thought it was all in her head.
I was so sick of fighting with the doctors and so sick of fighting with my body.
I couldn't believe it. I was disgusted.
I didn't want to live anymore.
Just 1 year after the wedding, Catherine gives birth to their first daughter, Jade.
In the very beginning, I thought it was going okay, but things quickly went wrong. It was so painful when I was breastfeeding that I sometimes would cry. It hurt so bad. But I didn't know that it was supposed to be any other way.
For almost a month, Catherine struggles through the pain.
One afternoon, I was breastfeeding my daughter, and I look down, and I see blood on me, and then I look, and I see that her mouth has blood on it. That really scared me.
Catherine Gordon's painful first weeks of breastfeeding have culminated in a moment of pure horror.
I see that her mouth has blood on it. And that really scared me.
Catherine books an appointment with her doctor.
I was still seeing my OB since I had just had my daughter. So I showed her my chest. She took a look at me and confirmed that I did, in fact, have mastitis.
Mastitis is caused by an infection in the breast tissue, usually by a common bacteria. As the tissue becomes inflamed, it presses on the milk ducts, causing pain and discharge.
She gave me an antibiotic to treat the infection. She didn't seem particularly concerned. It's something that she saw a lot of, you know, with new moms breastfeeding their babies.
Catherine follows the doctor's guidance carefully.
The mastitis cleared up fairly easy, you know, like they said it would. But I just never got my energy back. I started to feel like I had low-grade fevers, and I would get very bad headaches.
She started saying she wasn't feeling well. She felt depressed, a lack of energy. She didn't feel like herself.
At the gym, Catherine is shocked by another strange sensation.
I was on the treadmill, and I felt tingling in my legs, and then a throbbing, aching pain down my left arm. I could feel it in my elbow. It was very painful. And I could feel a heaviness in my chest where it actually felt scratchy, like itchy. I'd actually bang my chest, trying to almost itch it from the inside. I just could not figure out what was going on with me.
Once again, Catherine turns to her primary care doctor.
I said, I'm having pain and numbness in my arms and legs. I'm having fatigue. She told me I had fibromyalgia.
Fibromyalgia sufferers often experience burning pain, aching in the joints, and numbness. Its precise cause is unknown, but it has been linked to anxiety and depression.
I felt like she wasn't really listening to me and listening to what my symptoms were. She prescribed me something to alleviate the pain, like a prescription strength ibuprofen. But she said there is no cure for fibromyalgia.
Months drag by. Catherine's mysterious symptoms persist, tearing apart her health and her family.
I started to think she was crazy. I thought it was all in her head. I thought she had these minor symptoms and that she was blowing them up to be something bigger than it was.
One evening in particular, he got home late. He had been studying in a study group for a test. The house was a mess, and there was no dinner. It erupted into a big fight. He said, "You've gone to doctor after doctor after doctor, Catherine, and they keep telling you there's nothing wrong with you."
I had so many of my own challenges and responsibilities. I was just starting law school. I had the business, just being married, new kid. And I said, I can't help you right now. You need to handle this. You need to suck it up. Suck it up.
That was a big turning point for me because I had already had some of my doctors kind of insinuate that I might be going crazy. But now I had lost the support of my husband completely. I felt hopeless. I felt so alone.
11 months of relentless pain, struggle, and doubt are taking a brutal toll.
I was so sick of fighting with my husband, and so sick of fighting with the doctors, and so sick of fighting with my body that I didn't want to live anymore. I decided that I was going to go to bed that night, and when I woke up in the morning, I was going to take all these pills and end it. I was going to, take my life.
After months of crippling pain, Catherine Gordon's doctors still cannot cure her mysterious illness. Even her husband doubts her symptoms.
I had lost my will to live. I was gonna take all these pills and end it. I went to sleep, and that night I had a dream. And I heard a voice. I mean, it was just so real that said, "It's your implants, and you need to get them out."
11 years earlier, at the start of her modeling career, Catherine had breast enhancement surgery.
Being a bikini model, your figure was everything. And so I went from a 34B to a 34D because it helped my modeling career at the time. When I heard that voice, I knew it was real. Someone might say, maybe it was just your body talking to you, but I believe it was God talking to me.
That morning, Catherine contacts Dr. Susan Kolb, a local plastic surgeon.
She called and said that she was having symptoms of fibromyalgia, symptoms of neurological problems.
She immediately knew what I was talking about, and then even brought up a symptom that I hadn't mentioned, which was the pain down my arm.
The problems that Catherine had were very typical of other patients having severe problems with their breast implants.
To find out if Catherine's implants could have been making her ill, Dr. Kolb must physically inspect them. 72 hours later, she wheels Catherine into surgery.
We put her to sleep on the table, and then we make an incision just above the crease of the breast. And we go to the scar tissue around the implant. Then we opened it up and took the implant out.
I remember waking up to Dr. Kolb standing by my side saying, Catherine, you're not gonna believe this. Both of your implants were black.
I couldn't believe it. I was disgusted. And then I understood. I understood how they could have been making her sick. The fact that I did not believe Catherine, that I doubted her, that I thought this was in her head, I felt horrible.
When I saw Catherine's implant, I knew that the implant was making her extremely ill. It was black with particles floating in it.
Catherine's implants are made up of a silicone sac that should be filled with a clear saline fluid. Whatever is floating inside that dark liquid has been poisoning Catherine for months.
The implant was sent to an expert that was able to show the presence of microorganisms. The major fungus found inside her implants was Aspergillus niger.
The spores of Aspergillus niger have somehow penetrated Catherine's implants and started breeding in the liquid saline filling. As the colonies grow, they release toxins that poison Catherine's body.
I had never heard of infected implants before. It is really disgusting and very creepy to think that there was a black fungus in my body, the deadly fungus that really should have killed me.
But how did the fungus find a way to get inside her implants in the first place?
Catherine developed an infection while she was breastfeeding, and her doctors placed her on antibiotics, which was appropriate. However, when you're on prolonged antibiotics, you can get mold and fungal infections, which is what happened to Catherine. They should have also placed her on antifungals. The fungus was allowed into the implant by a faulty valve, most likely.
A tiny gap opened by a slight loosening of the valve seal could be all the fungus needed to get into the implants. With the implants removed and the fungus identified, Dr. Kolb puts Catherine on a rigorous course of the antifungal medication fluconazole.
It was really tough. I mean, it took a good month and a half before I felt normal.
13 years later, Catherine has no major after effects from her rare, crippling infection.
Thank God, my health is great. It's excellent. I exercise, I play tennis, I run my kids around, I live a very happy, healthy life.
I feel really horrible about the kind of husband I was, that I was not there for her, that I doubted her. It's a great regret that I have in my life. But also, I know I've become a much better husband.
Like any artificial device inside the body, breast implants potentially carry some risk of becoming contaminated. It's recommended that women with implants experiencing any breast-related symptom consult with their doctors or surgeons for a routine checkup. Some doctors even recommend replacing breast implants every 10 years.
It was almost impossible for me to breathe.
Her risk of dying was close to 90%. We were running out of time.
They needed to put her on the machine because she wasn't breathing on her own.
The class we actually got to be outside. We were going to Eau Claire together, and she definitely loved it there. because she liked being independent. Good to see my family and my friends because I hadn't been home for a while. So it was just nice to catch up with everybody.
The time comes for Sarah to make the journey back to college in Eau Claire. But as she's leaving, something unexpected happens.
I was standing down in my front entryway and I was saying goodbye to my parents and my sister, and I just got really sharp chest pain. The pain was on the right side of my chest, and it was just like burning. It just took my breath away. I said that I felt like I was having a heart attack, which wasn't really funny, but I mean, I didn't really know how else to describe it. It just hurt so bad.
I really didn't think anything was going to come of it. I thought it would pass.
I mean, I'm 19 years old. It's not like I'm really having a heart attack or anything.
Rachel and her mother arrive. Sarah is catching a ride with them back to college.
On that particular ride back, she was very quiet compared to her usual self. That's how I realized she was in a lot of pain.
As the miles pass, Sarah feels another distressing symptom.
Every time that I would take a breath in, it was like my lungs weren't able to expand enough to get the full breath that I needed. Like I had a really heavy weight on my chest.
At the end, it was like unbearable. It hurt so much to breathe that she was holding her breath.
The deeper the breath that I took, the more it would hurt. I would double over just because it hurt so bad.
After 2 hellish hours, the friends reach the campus.
I just wanted to go up in the dorm room and lay down. Rachel's mom opened the door for me, and I just kind of slumped back into the seat because it was like impossible for me to breathe at that point. I couldn't even get out of the car without collapsing.
She had tears coming down her face because she was in so much pain. She needed help, obviously.
The friends speed Sarah to the local hospital. There, medics take Sarah's vitals. They also take an X-ray and an ECG of her chest.
The doctor said that I might have like serious diseases, maybe something wrong with my heart. He was telling me pretty much every worst case scenario that was possible. I was just like, this can't be happening.
After a 2-hour wait, the doctor returns with the ECG. Instead of her heart, the problem is in Sarah's lungs.
The doctor came back and told me that the test showed that I had walking pneumonia.
Pneumonia is commonly caused by a bacterial infection deep in the lungs. It can strike suddenly, filling even the tiniest air passages with bacteria and fluid, starving the body of oxygen.
I was relieved at the time to know that it wasn't something as serious as what he said it could have been.
The doctor made this sound like really routine, basically. He just said that it's walking pneumonia, she can take antibiotics, and she'll be better.
Sarah returns to her dorm room with the antibiotics and a note excusing her from class. She spends the next 2 days trying to rest.
I was just waiting for the drugs to kick in. I was still in a lot of pain, and my chest was still hurting a lot. Every time that I would move just like a slight bit, it would trigger that stabbing sensation all over again.
After 2 days, the antibiotics are still not easing her pain. But Sarah desperately wants to return to her studies. She struggles through class and then joins her friend for the uphill walk back to their dorm.
We both walked up the hill together. Usually it wasn't a problem, but we weren't even halfway when it was almost impossible for me to breathe. I was determined to stay up the hill so that I could go back in the dorm room, but I realized that I wasn't going to be able to do it. I was panicking. It was as if I was trying to breathe through a straw. I was incredibly scared at that point.
After 3 days on antibiotics, Sarah Kramer's pneumonia has not improved. Even walking up a small hill on campus is too much for her weakened lungs.
It was as if I was trying to breathe through a straw.
Desperate for help, Sarah's friend flags down a passing vehicle that drives her back to the dorm. She fights on alone for 6 more days, but every gasp is a painful ordeal.
I wanted to stay at school, but that was pretty much when I just broke down and called my mom.
I could hear in her voice that she was scared. She said, "Mom, can you come and get me?"
Nancy rushes her daughter back to the hospital in her hometown. A scan of her chest shows that whatever is causing the pneumonia has now spread to both of her lungs.
That definitely scared me because I was on medication at that point. It didn't make sense to me why it had spread when it was supposed to be getting better.
She was just drained. She was so drained from fighting so hard. Just breathing was hard.
Lung disease expert Dr. Alan Brocard takes over Sarah's case.
She was in very critical condition. Sarah's breathing was getting very difficult and labored. She was anxious. She was gasping for every breath. Her life was in danger. We were running out of time.
When they told me how serious everything was, I really didn't believe them. I mean, I'm 19. It's too young.
Desperate to identify the infection, Dr. Brocard orders up a battery of blood, urine, and sputum tests. Finally, a sputum test reveals that the danger is not a bacteria at all.
The breakthrough diagnosis was the identification of a fungus that causes blastomycosis.
Blastomycosis is caused by the fungus Blastomyces dermatitis. This mold infests the deepest, smallest air cavities in Sarah's lungs. There, the fungus feeds on nutrients and fluid present in her airways. It multiplies rapidly, forming a swelling colony. As the infection takes hold, the air cavities fill with mold and pus, suffocating Sarah from the inside.
Many blastomyces infections are dealt with by the immune system without the need for medical intervention. But in some cases, the fungus can lie undetected in the lungs for months, and when the fungus spreads, it can overwhelm the host's immune system within weeks.
Hearing that there was something inside her that was growing, it was mind-boggling.
Blastomyces is a fungus, not a bacteria. So even though these organisms look very similar under a microscope, their biology is totally different. Antibiotics designed to kill a bacteria won't do anything against the fungus.
To save Sarah's life, Dr. Brocard switches her to an antifungal medication called amphotericin.
Unfortunately, it was late in the game and she continued to deteriorate. Unless we intervened, she would die from respiratory failure.
Dr. Brocard has to place Sarah in a coma and insert a breathing tube down her throat.
Sarah was in a life-threatening situation. We had no margin for error, and her risk of dying was close to 90%.
They needed to put her on the machine because she wasn't doing enough breathing on her own. It just kept getting worse and worse.
college student Sarah Kramer is in a coma. The fungus blastomyces is clogging her lungs.
Unless we intervene, she would die from respiratory failure.
Dr. Brocard is relying on the antifungal medication amphotericin to clear Sarah's infected lungs. Slowly, the drug turns the tide.
We got a feeling that Sarah would pull through maybe after a week when we saw that her oxygen requirement was going down.
As the infection eases, the medics are able to take Sarah off life support and rouse the teenager.
The nurses had said, you know what, if you want to bring in music and play music for Sarah, you're more than welcome to do that. And as she came out of the coma, she was shimmying her shoulders, and I just started laughing. It was just like, oh my gosh. Just seeing that, I knew that she was going to be better.
With Sarah conscious again, she and the doctors can try to trace the origin of the fungal infection. One potential source of the infection is a riverbank she visited for her favorite biology class.
I told him that I had been down by the river and digging in the soil, and we were hoping to find different insects. The conditions were damp because it had just been raining a ton, and there's a lot of rotted wood.
Because blastomyces dermatitis mold typically grows on moist soil and rotten wood, it's here that doctors think Sarah could have inhaled its spores.
The fungus blastomyces is found throughout the central and southern U.S., including the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley. Only around 8 cases are recorded in the United States each year, but the infection also attacks a large number of household pets. Animals that search through the undergrowth with their noses to the ground are especially vulnerable to the blastomyces spores.
With the blastomycosis in retreat, Sarah's lungs slowly repair. She can at last return home.
I'm incredibly thankful to be here. I mean, beating the odds and everything.
I think this experience has made her appreciate things a little more. It's an awareness for everyone in our family, how precious life really is.
Have you ever thought that the fruits you're eating daily could be harming your health as you age? It's a shocking reality. Some of the most common, beloved fruits that we've always seen as healthy can pose serious risks, especially for seniors. You may think you're making the right choice by enjoying a fresh, juicy piece of fruit, but what if that seemingly harmless snack is secretly affecting your blood sugar, digestion, or even your medication? In this video, we're diving deep into 6 dangerous fruits that seniors should avoid, especially if you're managing conditions like diabetes, kidney issues, or digestive problems. These aren't just minor concerns. Eating the wrong fruit can lead to life-threatening complications and disrupt the quality of your life in ways you may not even realize. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which fruits to avoid and why, empowering you to make smarter, safer choices that will help you feel your best, stay healthy, and keep enjoying life to the fullest. This isn't about eliminating fruits from your diet entirely. It's about knowing the risks and making informed decisions. So stick with us as we uncover which fruits to watch out for, and how you can still enjoy the sweet and healthy options that work for your body. Your future self will thank you for it. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. Grapes. Let me share something important with you, and I promise you'll want to listen. Grapes. Yes, those tiny, vibrant fruits that are often considered a delightful treat. Sweet, juicy, and deceptively innocent. They are a staple in so many homes, loved for their burst of natural sweetness, their easy-to-eat nature, and their role in juices, wines, and snacks like raisins. On the surface, grapes might seem like the perfect healthy snack, full of antioxidants, vitamins, and fiber. But here's the truth that too many people overlook. For seniors, grapes can carry some surprising health risks that we need to talk about. Let's begin with sugar. Grapes are deceptively sweet, and while their natural sugar content might seem harmless, it's a different story when we consider the impact on seniors, particularly those with diabetes or prediabetes. When you look at grapes, especially dried grapes, raisins, you're looking at a little sugar bomb. Glucose and fructose, two sugars, are abundant in grapes, and when consumed in excess, they can cause blood sugar levels to spike quickly. Now, think about this. For someone already struggling with managing blood sugar, even a small handful of grapes can wreak havoc. Those blood sugar spikes aren't just a temporary concern. They can lead to much more severe, long-term complications, such as nerve damage, heart problems, and even kidney issues. It's not just about numbers on a chart. It's about the very foundation of our health slowly eroding. Now, there's another, perhaps more overlooked danger that grapes pose to seniors: the choking hazard. This one hits close to home for many. Grapes are small, round, and incredibly slippery, making them difficult to chew and swallow properly, particularly for seniors who may have swallowing difficulties. Whether it's due to Parkinson's disease, reduced saliva production, or weakened jaw muscles, eating grapes becomes a risky endeavor. Imagine a single grape lodged in the throat, blocking the airway. The thought alone is terrifying, but the reality is all too real for those with swallowing issues. It's not just about choking, it's about safety. And for someone you love, that's a risk you can't afford to ignore. Then, there's potassium. Potassium is one of the most vital minerals for muscle and nerve function. But as with everything, too much of a good thing can be dangerous. Grapes are naturally rich in potassium, and while that's great for most of us, it becomes a concern for seniors who have kidney problems. If the kidneys are struggling to filter out excess potassium, it can lead to a condition called hyperkalemia. Hyperkalemia can cause irregular heartbeats and muscle weakness, and in severe cases, it can even become life-threatening. This isn't just a matter of watching numbers on a blood test. This is about protecting your loved ones from an unseen, quiet danger. So, what does this all boil down to? Grapes aren't completely off the table, but it's essential to proceed with caution. If you or someone you love has diabetes or kidney concerns, grapes might not be the best choice. Instead, consider alternatives that are gentler on the body, like berries, lower in sugar but still packed with those wonderful antioxidants. And for those with swallowing concerns, perhaps it's best to pass on grapes altogether. After all, safety should always come first. It's about making mindful choices, choosing health, choosing well-being, and ultimately, choosing life. 2. Oranges. Oranges are often hailed as one of the healthiest fruits, a shining symbol of vitality, and a go-to remedy for boosting the immune system. Bursting with vitamin C, refreshing, and irresistibly tangy, they seem like the perfect snack for anyone seeking nourishment. But, as with all things that seem too good to be true, there's more beneath the surface that we might not always consider, especially for seniors. As much as we love the bright citrus flavor that wakes up our senses, oranges can sometimes bring a sour side effect, one that is tied to their acidity. Oranges are indeed packed with nutrients, but for seniors, their high acidity can create a world of trouble. Those struggling with acid reflux or gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, might find that this seemingly innocent fruit turns into a painful trigger. The sharp, tangy taste that refreshes the palate can spark a cascade of discomfort. For many, it's more than just a brief irritation. It can lead to stomach acid creeping back up into the esophagus, igniting heartburn, and leading to long-term damage to the esophagus lining. The discomfort, the burning sensation, the sleepless nights, it can all begin with that innocent slice of orange. But it doesn't stop there. The effects of acid reflux can ripple throughout daily life, affecting sleep, energy levels, and overall well-being. Seniors often find themselves battling for restful sleep and energy throughout the day. When acid reflux keeps them awake at night or leaves them drained, their quality of life begins to suffer. It becomes a never-ending cycle that steals joy from what should be a time of relaxation and comfort in life. And as if that wasn't enough, oranges can present a hidden danger for seniors with kidney problems. They are naturally high in potassium, an essential nutrient we need for our heart and muscles to function properly. In a healthy person, that's no issue, but for those with kidney disease or impaired kidney function, too much potassium can quickly become dangerous. When the kidneys are unable to filter out excess potassium, it can accumulate in the bloodstream, leading to a condition known as hyperkalemia. This can cause irregular heart rhythms, muscle weakness, and in severe cases, even life-threatening complications. No one wants to face the horror of health emergencies when they could have been prevented with a simple change in diet. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Let's also consider the impact on dental health. Oranges, with all their vitamin-packed goodness, come with a catch. Their acidity can slowly erode tooth enamel. And for seniors, who are already at a higher risk for gum disease and tooth decay, the effects can be even more detrimental. Over time, the enamel that protects our teeth begins to wear away, leaving us with sensitive teeth, cavities, and a whole host of dental issues. These problems can make even the simplest joys, like eating or laughing, become painful. And when you're in your golden years, the last thing you want to face is an avoidable dental issue that could steal your smile. So, what's the answer to all of this? Moderation, as it often is. If you love oranges and can't imagine life without their vibrant, citrusy bite, then go ahead, enjoy them, but with awareness. Consider limiting your portions and try rinsing your mouth with water after eating to neutralize the acidity. And as much as it pains me to say it, maybe consider swapping in fruits that are kinder to your digestive system and teeth, like bananas, melons, or pears. These fruits are gentler on the stomach and still offer a refreshing burst of flavor without the baggage that comes with their acidic cousins. Ultimately, it's about balance. Our bodies change as we age, and what once felt like a simple pleasure can sometimes turn into something that causes harm. By taking care to listen to our bodies and adjusting our diets accordingly, we can continue to enjoy life's little pleasures without paying the price. 3. Avocados. Avocados are often hailed as a superfood, and who can blame us for embracing them so wholeheartedly? Their smooth, creamy texture and versatility in the kitchen make them a beloved addition to many diets. Packed with healthy fats, fiber, and an array of essential vitamins, avocados truly seem like a nutritional powerhouse. They've earned their title as a superfood, and yet, seniors may not be as super as they're cracked up to be. As much as I admire the nutritional benefits of avocados, I believe it's important to take a step back and carefully consider how they fit into the lives of older adults, especially when we think about our ever-changing health needs. For one, the calorie content in avocados can be a bit of a double-edged sword. While the healthy fats are fantastic in moderation, they are also calorie-dense, which can be problematic for seniors who are already navigating weight management. We know how challenging it can be to maintain a healthy weight, and for those with mobility issues or those managing chronic conditions like diabetes or hypertension, even a small amount of weight gain can have significant consequences. Extra weight can put unnecessary stress on joints, complicate heart conditions, and further challenge an already delicate balance. Then there's the issue of allergies, which might seem far from the minds of those who have enjoyed avocados for years. But, believe me, it's something that should not be overlooked. While rare, avocado allergies do occur, particularly in those with a latex sensitivity. The proteins in avocados are strikingly similar to those found in latex, and for individuals with this sensitivity, consuming avocado can cause intense reactions like itching, swelling of the mouth or throat, and, in extreme cases, a life-threatening anaphylactic response. I can't help but feel a sense of caution here, If you or a loved one have ever reacted with latex or certain fruits, it's critical to check with a healthcare professional before incorporating avocados into your diet. And let's not forget how tough avocados can be on the digestive system. As we age, our digestive health can become more sensitive, and the high fiber and fat content in avocados might not be as kind to our stomachs as we might hope. I've known people who've experienced bloating, gas, or even bouts of diarrhea after consuming foods that are higher in fat and fiber, and avocados can be a major culprit in this department. For seniors already battling digestive issues like irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, or other sensitivities, it's all too easy for the rich, creamy avocado to tip the scales into discomfort. So, what can we do? I truly believe that moderation is key. Instead of making avocados the star of every meal, why not enjoy them in smaller portions? Perhaps a quarter of an avocado as a garnish or topping. You can still relish their flavor and nutritional benefits without overindulging. And if they just don't sit well with you, there are other sources of healthy fats that might be gentler on the stomach, such as olive oil or a handful of nuts. We all deserve to nourish our bodies in the best way possible, and finding balance is truly the best approach, especially as we move through the later years of life. 4. Watermelon. Watermelon, the quintessential summer treat, holds a special place in many hearts, especially on those scorching hot days when all you crave is something cool, juicy, and refreshing. With its high water content and naturally sweet, vibrant flavor, it's the perfect snack to beat the heat. But as much as it's beloved by so many, this refreshing fruit might carry with it some unexpected risks, particularly for seniors, that are often overlooked. For anyone, there's nothing quite like sinking your teeth into a cold, crisp slice of watermelon and feeling the burst of coolness as the sweet juices run down your chin. It's the kind of simple pleasure that soothes the soul and quenches the heart on a hot day. Yet, for our older loved ones, the effects of this hydrating, delicious fruit can be more complex than it appears at first glance. Let's start with the glycemic index, GI, of watermelon, a factor that is often underestimated. While it's true that watermelon isn't as high in sugar as some of the other fruits out there, it does have a high GI, meaning it can cause blood sugar levels to rise rapidly. For seniors living with diabetes or even those who are pre-diabetic, this seemingly harmless snack can complicate efforts to keep their blood sugar stable. Even though it may seem like an innocent indulgence, over time, these sudden spikes in blood sugar can lead to significant health issues such as nerve damage, cardiovascular complications, and the worsening of diabetes symptoms. It's truly heartbreaking to think that something as simple as a fruit, so closely tied to summer joy, can also become a potential obstacle to maintaining stable health. But the risks don't end there. Watermelon's high water content, while a blessing in the heat, can become a burden for seniors with certain health conditions. For those who are already managing kidney issues or heart problems, consuming large quantities of fluid-rich foods like watermelon can contribute to fluid retention. At first glance, this might seem like no big deal, but it can lead to swelling, discomfort, and, more seriously, shortness of breath, particularly for individuals with chronic conditions such as congestive heart failure or chronic kidney disease. It's such a cruel irony that something so refreshing can also put extra strain on the body, making something so naturally enjoyable more of a challenge than a treat. There's also the matter of digestive issues. Watermelon, like many fruits, contains fiber which is generally good for digestion. However, for seniors with sensitive stomachs, consuming too much watermelon can quickly overwhelm their digestive system. The result? Bloating, gas, and even diarrhea. For seniors dealing with conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, the effects of watermelon can be especially aggravating, triggering symptoms that are not only uncomfortable but deeply frustrating. So how can you still savor watermelon, keeping all its refreshing benefits without the hidden risks? Moderation is key. Instead of indulging in large servings, try sticking to small portions, about 1 cup at a time, to enjoy the hydrating benefits without overwhelming your body. Pairing it with a source of protein or healthy fats can also help balance its impact on blood sugar. And of course, if you're managing heart or kidney issues, it's always wise to consult your doctor before indulging in your favorite summer fruit. It's heartbreaking to think that food so closely tied to summer's warmth and nostalgia can pose risks to the health of our elders. But it's essential to be aware, to ensure that those sweet moments of joy don't turn into something more troubling. The goal is to find balance, so we can all continue to enjoy life's simple pleasures, safely and with peace of mind. 5. Papayas. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Papayas are often hailed as one of nature's sweetest, most vibrant tropical treasures, adored for their refreshing taste and their reputation for aiding digestion. For many people, this golden fruit seems like an obvious choice for a healthy snack. Packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, papayas are a powerhouse of nutrition. With their high vitamin C content, folate, and fiber, along with an enzyme called papain that helps break down proteins, papayas seem almost magical in their ability to support digestion. But, as with many things in life, appearances can be deceiving. For seniors, this beloved fruit isn't always the harmless, healthy option we may assume it is. I know, it might sound surprising. Who would think that a fruit as harmless as papaya could pose a risk to our health? But the truth is that papayas carry some unique risks for older adults that we need to be cautious about, especially as our bodies change and become more sensitive to different foods. Let's take a deeper dive into these risks and explore why papayas may not always be the ideal choice for seniors. First, let's talk about digestion. While papayas have a long-standing reputation as a digestive aid, thanks to the enzyme papain, which helps break down proteins, this enzyme can also create problems for seniors with more sensitive digestive systems. Over time, as we age, our stomachs tend to become less tolerant of certain foods, and conditions like acid reflux, irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and general digestive discomfort become more common. For some seniors, papain can irritate the stomach lining, leading to bloating, cramping, or even diarrhea. It's not immediately noticeable, and it often sneaks up on us. What seems like a harmless, sweet treat could easily leave you feeling uncomfortable and distressed. It's one of those truths that I've learned through experience. Our once indestructible digestive system doesn't always handle the same foods as well in our later years. For anyone with digestive issues like IBS or sensitive stomachs, papayas can sometimes be a trigger, and what was once a favorite snack can quickly become a source of discomfort. That sweet taste might turn sour, and before long, you're wishing you had skipped that papaya entirely. I can personally relate to how frustrating this can be, eating something you've always enjoyed, only to end up feeling unwell. It's a reminder that what works for one person may not always work for another, especially as we age. But the risks don't end there. There's another serious concern for some seniors that may not be immediately obvious: latex allergies. Many people are surprised to learn that papayas contain proteins similar to those found in latex. For those with a latex allergy, this means that eating papayas can cause an allergic reaction, ranging from mild itching or swelling to something far more dangerous, like difficulty breathing or even anaphylaxis. It's a shocking realization, especially because many people who are allergic to latex may not even think twice about consuming papayas. If you've ever reacted to latex products, it's crucial to be cautious and, in most cases, avoid papayas altogether. For me, I always make sure to check for any allergic reactions when trying new foods, and I've learned to be extra vigilant about avoiding things that could potentially cause an issue, no matter how harmless they may seem at first. Another aspect to consider with papayas is their high vitamin C content. Now, don't get me wrong, vitamin C is vital for our immune system, and I can't emphasize enough how important it is to maintain our health as we age. But like anything, too much of a good thing can become problematic. For seniors who are already taking vitamin C supplements, adding papayas to their diet could easily push their intake to unhealthy levels. This excess vitamin C can cause digestive issues like nausea, stomach cramps, or even diarrhea. I've always found that balance is key, especially when it comes to something as easily accessible as fruits. While I don't want to discourage anyone from enjoying their favorite fruits, It's essential to be mindful of what else is already in your diet to avoid overwhelming your system. For some seniors, the fiber content in papayas could also be a cause for concern. Fiber is undoubtedly important for maintaining a healthy digestive system, but the problem arises when there's too much fiber, particularly for those with gastrointestinal conditions like diverticulitis. In these cases, a diet too high in fiber can exacerbate symptoms, leading to more bloating, discomfort, and even more serious digestive issues. This isn't something we always think about when we eat a healthy fruit, but it's a harsh reality that for people with certain conditions, fiber can sometimes make things worse instead of better. I've come to realize that not all fiber is created equal, and sometimes less is more, especially when it comes to older adults dealing with delicate digestive systems. So, where does that leave us? Is papaya a fruit to avoid completely? Not at all. I still love the taste and nutrition papayas offer, but it's important to be mindful of how they fit into our overall diet, especially as we grow older. Moderation is key. A small serving, maybe half a cup, is often enough to provide the benefits without overwhelming the system. For seniors who love papayas but have concerns, the key is paying attention to how your body reacts. Start slow, and be aware of any discomfort or reactions that may arise. And of course, it's always wise to consult with your healthcare provider to ensure that papayas and other fruits are compatible with your individual needs. 6. Star fruit. Let's take a deeper dive into a fruit that, on the surface, seems like a harmless tropical delicacy, yet has hidden dangers lurking beneath its stunning exterior. I'm talking about star fruit, or carambola, a fruit as visually captivating as it is potentially harmful. This fruit, with its unique star-shaped slices and refreshing, tangy flavor, has earned its place as a treat in many parts of the world. It's no surprise that many people are drawn to its beauty and taste, imagining it as a harmless pleasure, but for seniors, especially those dealing with kidney problems, star fruit carries with it an alarming and dangerous risk that shouldn't be ignored. While star fruit is undoubtedly an eye-catching fruit, its appeal should not overshadow the severe health risks it presents. The most concerning of these dangers is the neurotoxin called carboxin, which is found naturally in star fruit. This toxin, in healthy individuals with functioning kidneys, is not a major issue because the kidneys efficiently filter out harmful substances. However, when it comes to seniors, particularly those with compromised kidney function, things are not so simple. As we age, our kidneys often become less efficient at performing their vital functions, and for individuals with kidney disease or chronic kidney conditions, the situation can become even more dire. The carbon in star fruit, when not filtered out properly, can accumulate in the bloodstream, leading to a host of potentially life-threatening symptoms. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. This is where the real danger lies. The neurotoxin can cause confusion, agitation, and disorientation. For someone in their golden years, these symptoms can be deeply unsettling and frightening, often creating a cycle of increasing anxiety. What's even more alarming is that, in extreme cases, the buildup of carbon can lead to seizures or a coma. These are not just minor issues that can be brushed off. They are critical, life-altering events that can drastically affect a senior's quality of life. For those who are already managing kidney conditions, like those undergoing dialysis or living with severe renal failure, even a small amount of star fruit can have catastrophic consequences. What seems like a harmless fruit can quickly escalate into a medical emergency, and the risks simply aren't worth the potential harm. But the dangers of star fruit do not end there. Even for seniors who do not have pre-existing kidney problems, the neurotoxin in star fruit can still pose a significant risk. For healthy individuals, the symptoms are usually milder, but for elderly people, these symptoms can still be problematic and dangerous. Dizziness, headaches, and muscle weakness are just a few of the troubling effects that can arise from consuming star fruit. These side effects might seem like minor annoyances, but for seniors who may already be struggling with balance or coordination issues, the risks are much greater. Dizziness and muscle weakness can increase the likelihood of falls, and we all know how devastating a fall can be for an older person. A simple stumble can lead to broken bones, prolonged recovery, and a significant decline in overall well-being. So, while the fruit might seem like a light, fun indulgence, it can easily become a silent and unwelcome threat to health and safety. Beyond the neurotoxin, another hidden danger of star fruit is its high oxalate content. Oxalates are naturally occurring compounds found in a variety of foods, and while they are typically harmless in small amounts, they can contribute to the formation of kidney stones in susceptible individuals. For seniors who have a history of kidney stones, particularly those with calcium oxalate stones, star fruit is a fruit that should be avoided at all costs. Kidney stones are no laughing matter. They are incredibly painful and can cause extreme discomfort, sometimes requiring medical intervention to remove. If you've ever experienced the pain of passing a kidney stone, you'll understand why it's so critical to avoid foods that can increase the risk of their formation. Star fruit's oxalates can cause stones to form or worsen, putting seniors at an even greater risk for recurring kidney problems and the associated pain. It's just not worth the risk. When it comes to our health, particularly as we age, we often think that we're making the best choices when it comes to our diets. We focus on eating what's available, what looks good, and what we enjoy. However, as we get older, it becomes more essential than ever to be mindful of what we put into our bodies. Star fruit, with its beautiful appearance and exotic appeal, is one of those foods that might seem harmless at first glance, but for seniors, it's a fruit that carries with it significant, avoidable risks. It's easy to become enamored by the fruit's visual appeal or its unique flavor, but when we look beyond its surface, we see that star fruit can pose a real threat to health. For anyone who has ever dealt with kidney issues or the concerns that come with aging, it's vital to consider the bigger picture. The foods we consume can have a profound impact on our well-being, and sometimes even seemingly innocuous foods can become dangerous if we aren't careful. It's not just about avoiding star fruit because of its potential to cause immediate harm. It's about making informed decisions to safeguard our health as we navigate the complexities of aging. So, while star fruit might be a tempting treat on the surface, it's a fruit that seniors, especially those with kidney concerns, should approach with caution. The risks, confusion, seizures, kidney stones, are not worth the fleeting satisfaction that the fruit might offer. Health is precious, especially as we get older, and it's our responsibility to be proactive in protecting it. In this case, it's best to admire star fruit from a distance, leaving it on the shelf and opting for safer, more nourishing choices. Our bodies deserve it, and our peace of mind depends on it. Let's make the best decisions for ourselves and our future health, even when faced with a fruit that seems like nothing more than a beautiful, exotic delight. As we wrap up today's discussion, I hope you've gained a deeper understanding of the hidden risks that come with certain foods, especially when it comes to aging and maintaining our health. From the beautiful star fruit to its unexpected dangers for those with kidney issues, we've covered some important lessons that could make all the difference in protecting your health. So, what have you learned so far? Is there something in particular about star fruit or the broader topic of food safety and aging that stood out to you? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please comment below with one thing you've learned today that you're planning to bring into your own life moving forward. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more valuable insights. We're here to help you live a healthier, more fulfilling life, so stay tuned for more videos just like this one.